right, so today we're talking about lines and angles. So our goal for today is I can name angles formed by a pair of lines and a transversal. So if you have not taken a geometry course before, then you probably have never heard of these before. This is not something that, one of the topics like triangles that you learn in third grade. This is a new topic for you. If you have taken a geometry course before, then you may have heard of these before. I would assume you would have. Okay, so let's talk about intersecting lines and the special angles that they create. So first off, we have this first vocabulary word, which is a transversal. A transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines. So if you look at our diagram over here, we have three lines drawn. We have line T, we have line L, and we have line M. This is line M, this is line L, and this is line T. Which of my three lines is the only line that intersects two lines? That would be line T. So line T is a transversal. If you look at line L, it only intersects one line, and line M, same thing. So line T is my transversal. And once again, a transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines. All right, next we'll talk about alternate interior angles. So first off, let's talk about the word interior. What does interior mean? Interior means inside. Like in the interior of your car is the inside of your car. So when I say inside, I'm talking about inside of my double lines, okay? My double lines are my two lines that are not transversals. So when I say inside, I'm looking inside or in between those two lines, okay? So you might want to write that down. It is inside my double lines. And when I say my double lines, I mean not transversal, okay? Now, the next word that we need to look at is alternate. So if I said that hybrid group A and hybrid group B alternate the days they come, what does that mean? That means they switch off every other, right? So one way of thinking this is every other. Another way of thinking is that the angles are on alternate sides of the transversal. So alternate sides of the transversal, okay? So not on the same side. If you're going on alternate days, you're not going on the same day. You're switching off which ones that you're going on. So this is switching off on the transversal. So let's see if we can locate some alternate interior angles. So first off, I'm going to highlight my double lines so everyone can see them. Now I want to be on the inside of the double lines because it's interior. So I'm looking at angles 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, alternate interior angles is a pair. So I'll start just by choosing 3 randomly, okay? Now I'm looking for an angle that's on the alternate side of the transversal. So that is angle 6, and it's never going to be the one right next to it, okay? So if you look at this, these are alternate interior angles. They are on the inside of my double lines on different sides of the transversal. So one example is angle 3 and angle 6. Are there any more examples of alternate interior angles? Yes, there are. If I would have said randomly, I'm choosing 4 first. 4 is on the inside, and then I need the alternate angle with it. So on the opposite side of the transversal is 5. So angle 4 and angle 5 are also alternate interior angles. All right, now let's talk about same side interior angles. So same side interior angles, I think it's an even easier vocabulary set here. Interior, inside. Same side, same side. I don't have to give you different definitions. So these are going to be on the same side of the transversal on the interior of your two non-intersecting lines. Okay, the double lines is what I like to call them. So here's my non-intersecting lines, my 2 double lines, okay? And at some point, these ones will intersect if they keep going on forever and ever. Like they'll hit, like if I keep going this way in here, they'll intersect. But I mean the non-transversal line when I say that. Okay, so it might not be the best definition, but I literally came up with it. I'm trying to come up with a new one. Okay, all right, so I need inside So once again, if I choose one at random, let's say I choose 3 again, okay? But I want it on the same side of the transversal. So if I want on the same side of the transversal, both 4 and 6 are not on the same side. The only one on the same side is 3. So 3 and 5 are example of same side interior angles. What's another example of same side interior angles? Now, you can probably guess by me erasing what I crossed off. If I would have chosen 4, angle 6 is the same side interior angle with angle 4. So angle 4 and angle 6 are same side interior. Now, also notice I'm writing these in pairs and separated. So this is one group, this is one group. This is one group, this is one group. Okay, so because I can't say alternate interiors, 3, 6, 4, and 5. It's 3 and 6, they're a group, and then 4 and 5. All right, next we have alternate exterior angles. Okay, alternate exterior angles. So exterior, what does exterior mean? Exterior means on the outside, so outside of my double lines. Okay, alternate, we know what that means. That means they're not going to be on the same side of the transversal. They're going to be on alternate sides of the transversal. So here's my double lines. I want to be on the outside of them. So now I'm looking at 1, 2, 7, and 8. All right, so let's randomly start by picking one of them, and I'll choose angle 1. All right, so I want one that's on the alternate side of the transversal. So it can't be 3 or 7. Well, it can't be 3 because that's on the inside, not on the outside, but it can't be 7. And then I want it on the alternate side of the transversal, and it can't be right next to. So that would be angle 8. So angle 1 and angle 8 are alternate exterior angles. All right, what if I would have chosen 2 instead? On the outside, on the opposite side of the transversal would be 7. So angle 2 and angle 7. All right, our last type of special angle pairs are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. So corresponding angles, I like to describe, or first off, the word corresponding, what that means, right? So corresponding means goes with, right? So like correspondence in corresponding means that they go with each other. Like if your shoes correspond to your outfit, they match them, okay? So you're looking for the ones that match up. So if I was looking at this group of 4 right here, right? This group of 4 right here, that group of 4 angles right there. And I said that I wanted to choose one of them at random. So I'm going to delete what I just highlighted, and I'm just going to choose angle 1, okay? So in its group of 4, if you look at angle 1, it's in the upper left-hand corner, right? So what I want to do is I want to go to these 4, and I want to choose the one in the upper left-hand corner. So angle 4 and angle 5 are corresponding angles. I'm sorry, that was angle 1, not angle 4. Angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding angles. So now if I said, okay, well, what if I would have chose 2 instead? 2 is in the upper right-hand corner, and so is 6. So angle 2 and angle 6 are also corresponding angles. Okay, well, what if I would have chosen angle 3? What corresponds to angle 3? Bottom left is angle 7. So angle 3 and angle 7 are corresponding angles. And then finally, I already chose red, so let's do blue. Angle 4, and then angle 8 corresponds to that. So angle 4 and angle 8. So there's our vocabulary for our angles. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to identify the transversal of each pair of angles, and then identify each pair of angles as either alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, or same side interior. So the first thing that I want you to do is that I want you to start by making a square, rectangle, box, anything colored in. This is going to be something that we use to cover up what we don't need. Now, do you have to do this? No, but is it useful? Yes, because notice when you're doing this, you're looking at 8 angles here, and there's 12 in this picture. So for each of these problems, you're not going to need 4 of the angles. So what I do is I cover them up. So this box is actually not big enough, so I'm going to make it a little bigger. There we go. Now it's big enough, I think. Let's see. Oh, yeah, now it's big enough, right? Okay, So I'm looking at first angle 6 and angle 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find angle 6 and 10, and I'm going to circle them just so everyone sees them, 6 and 10. So it looks like I'm working with those first two groups on the left, and I don't need this group over here, so I'm going to cover it up. Or you could just zoom in. So you want to see what kind of angles 6 and 10 are. So first off, I need the transversal, okay? If you look at the lines you're using, you have this line and this line, and then you have this line that intersects both. So that's my transversal. My transversal is M. Now I want to know what kind of angles they are. So if you look at 10 and 6, here's 10, here's 6. They're on the inside of my double lines. Okay, so they're interior. Now, are they on the same side of the transversal or alternate sides? They're on the same side. So these are same side interior angles. Same side interior angles. Okay, let's look at 9 and 11 next. So I'm going to move this, and I'm going to circle 9 and 11. 9 and 11. So those two sets. So I don't need the one up top, so I'm going to do that, and then I'll zoom in. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to look to see where are my double lines, what's my transversal. Another way of finding the transversal has to touch both of the angles. So if you look, this is the one that touches both of the angles. Transversals touch both. So the transversal is T. That means my double lines, I will highlight here in blue. That means those are my double lines. Okay? So if you look at how angle 9 and angle 11 are, they're both in between or inside my double line, so they're interior. But this time, notice they're on alternate sides of the transversal. So these are alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. All right, next, 1 and 5. I see 5, I see 5, but I don't see 1. So I'm assuming 1's underneath that. So there's 1, there's 5. Okay, so first off, my transversal, what's the line that they're both touching? They're both touching line L, so that's my transversal. That means that my double lines are my other two lines. My double lines are M and T. I'll make those a little bit thicker instead of using a different color. All right, where is 5? Is it on the outside or inside of my double lines? Once again, I'm going to put my double lines in blue just because I can't refer to them as the red ones. 5 is on the inside, 1 is on the outside. So the word interior and the word exterior is out because I have one of each. So now, if that ever happens, I want to check for corresponding angles. So if you look at 1 and you look at 5, if you look at this group right here of 5, this is in the same spot as this one. So this is like the upper left-hand corner. This is the upper left-hand corner. So those are corresponding angles. All right, next one. Gotta erase everything I put in there. Okay, 3 and 8. So 3 and 8. I'm gonna move this over here so I can see 3. So here's 3, here's 8. Okay, so what line do they both touch? Because that's my transversal. That'd be M. If M is my transversal, the other two lines, L and T, are my double lines. Okay. So look at 3 and 8. Are they in between, so inside, interior angles, or are they outside, exterior angles? They're both outside of my double lines, so they're exterior. And now if you look, 8 is on this side of the transversal, 3 is on this side, so they're on alternate sides. So these are alternate exterior angles. All right, next, 7 and 12. Oops. 7 and 12. So there's 12. That means I'm hiding 7. So here's 7, here's 12. All right, what's the transversal? That'd be T. They both touch T, so that's the transversal. That means that my double lines are M and L. Okay, so now I want to know what type of angles these are. So are they on the inside or on the outside of my double lines? They're both on the inside. Are they on the same side or alternate sides of the transversal? Alternate. So these are alternate interior angles. All right, last set. We're looking at 4 and 8. All right, 4 and 8. I don't see 4 and I don't see 8. So I look and I realize, no, I do see 4. My bad. There's 4, there's 8. I do see 4 and I do see 8. Here's 8 and here's 4. Okay, transversal. They both touch out. I'm going to do that in cursive so it's readable. And then I want to know what kind of angles they are. Okay, so if you look, here's my double lines. And one is on the interior, one's on the inside, one's on the outside. So it's not going to be interior or exterior or anything. So now I want to look to see if they're corresponding. This is the upper right-hand corner. This is the upper right-hand corner. So they are corresponding angles. Okay. All right, next, this is a different step. Why don't you pause the video and try these on your own. I'm going to go grab my thing to block. All right, A says identify the transversal to the lines L and M. So what's the line that intersects L and M? That's T. Next it says identify the special name given by each pair of angles. So you don't have to do the transversal here. You can do it for extra practice if you want, but you don't have to. So 7 and 12 is first. I'm going to cover these up. Here's 7, here's 12. So 7's on the inside of my double lines, 12's on the outside. So they're not all out, they're not exterior or interior, so my only option's corresponding. If you look, 7 is in the bottom right-hand corner, and so is 12. So they are corresponding angles. Next we have 8 and 10. So first 8 here, 10 here, they both touch T. So they are, my double lines are right here. They're both on the inside. Look, they're both on the inside, but they're on different sides of the transversal, so alternate sides. So alternate interior angles. Please don't abbreviate these A or C angles. Please make sure you're using the right words. You can abbreviate alternate, ALT, interior, INT, but that's about it. Okay, next I'm looking for 1 and 6. 1 and 6. So 1 and 6 are both in this group. So realize if they're both in the same group, they're not going to be alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior, or corresponding. So I want to say, okay, well, what can I say special about angle 1 and angle 6? If you look right here, they form a linear pair. So they are a linear pair. And then 2 and 12. 2, 12. All right, they both touch T, the transversal. That means my double lines right here are those two. And if you look, they're both on the outside, so exterior. And then they're on opposite sides of the transversal, so alternate exterior angles. Okay, so next we have the definition of parallel lines. So what is the definition of parallel lines? Parallel lines are two lines that never intersect. So two lines, two or more lines technically, that never intersect. So that's why my definition up here has non-intersecting. I'll fix that for in-class notes. I'll just say side of transversal on the exterior of the two non-transversal lines. Non-transversal lines. Yeah, that doesn't make much good sense in English, but hey, do I ever? Okay, so two lines that never intersect. And they have to be on the same plane, and it can be more than two. All right, parallel lines. The parallel line notation. So just like we know this means congruent, There's a notation for parallel. This is the notation for parallel, okay? It can look like that, or it can be like slanted, like that. Those both mean parallel. All right, so for example, we could say like line L is parallel to line M, okay? All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to learn a couple things about when we have parallel lines, what happens. So what I want to do first is I want to create two horizontal lines, and I want to make sure to wait a second when I draw them so that they're perfectly straight. So I don't just want to go like that because that's not perfectly straight. So I'm going to make one horizontal line. What I could do is I can copy and paste this if I want to. Copy, paste, and then I have the same exact one right there. Okay. Now I want them to be lines and not segments, so I'm going to put little arrows on the end. Hey, now, let's do that. Okay, so there's my two lines. What can I say about these two lines? They are parallel. They do not intersect. Draw a slanted line going through both of those lines. So here's my slanted line. That looks good. What is that line called? Well, it's intersecting two or more lines, so this is called a transversal. Now follow along with me and number the angles that I create 1 through 8. Okay, so I'm going to randomly throw them in there because I don't want them to look like the previous examples that we've been doing. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just mix them up a little bit, but do them like how I did it. Okay. What types of special angles from chapter 1 do we see? What type of special angles from chapter 1 do we see? So even if I want to zoom in on this, what are some angles that we see? And if you're like, what angles? Well, how about 5 and 6? What kind of angles are those called? Those are called linear pairs. What about angle 6 and angle 8? What's special about those? Those are called vertical angles. Okay? What do we know about vertical angles? They're congruent, so those are going to be the same. What do we know about linear pairs? They're supplementary, so they have to add to 180. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to list the pairs of corresponding angles, alternate interior, alternate exterior, each one of them. So let me do this. I'm going to bring this down here so I can see it. There we go. Okay, so list all the pairs of corresponding, actually I'm going to put it right there. Corresponding alternate, okay, so corresponding angles. So let's start with angle 5. What corresponds to angle 5? Angle 1. So angle 5 and angle 1. All right, let's do angle 6 next. What corresponds to angle 6? Angle 2 does. So angle 6 and angle 2. All right, so let's do another set here. 8 and 3. And then my only one that I didn't do so far is angle 7 and angle 4. All right, how about alternate interior angles? Alternate interior angles. So, is it worth it to get rid of that? Yes, kind of. That was 1, that was 3, and there's a 5. Okay, alternate interior angles. So I want on the inside, so I'll start with 8, and I want the opposite side of the transversal. So 8 and 2, and then 1 and 7. Angle 8 and angle 2, angle 1 and angle 7. All right, what about alternate exterior? So I went on the outside. So if I choose 6, I need another angle on the outside on the opposite side of the transversal. So that's going to be 3. Angle 6 and angle 3. And then what's my other pair? Angle 5 and angle 4. Consecutive interior angles, you can change this. We changed the name and I want you to know that. That's why I left it. If you saw them, it's the same thing as same side interior angles. Same side interior and consecutive interior are the same thing. So same side interior angles. So inside, if I started with 8 again, but I wanted the same side of the transversal, so 1. So 8 and 1 and 7 and 2. All right, last but not least, I'm going to bring this down here again. Okay. I'm going to delete everything I drew over it. Could have just copied and pasted and got a brand new one each time, but hey, my way is working just fine. It says, let's pretend that angle 1 is 100 degrees. Let's label it. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to delete. I'm going to put you are 100 degrees. Okay? Follow along with me. Find the measures of any remaining angles that you know. Okay. So, I was going to say who can tell me. There's no one here with me. But I would ask in class, who can tell me an angle that they know? Hopefully you would say, oh, there's vertical angles. I know that angle 4 has to be 100 degrees also. And then hopefully someone would raise their hand and say, oh, well, these two angles right here form a linear pair. That means they're supplementary. So if I do 180 minus 100, that's 80 degrees. So angle 2 is 80 degrees. Angle 3 is a vertical angle with that. Or I can say that the bottom two are supplementary. Or these two are supplementary, right? So I know that angle 3 is 80 degrees. So now I say, what about 5, 6, 7, and 8? Okay, so here's what I want you to notice now. I'm going to trace this 80-degree angle in pink. Okay, now I'm going to do my best to move that angle, but I think it's going to move the whole line, which I'm fine with. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and move it. Now watch what happens when I move it up here. It's exactly the same as angle 6. So angle 6 is congruent to that 80-degree angle. Angle 7, that means is 100 degrees. But if I would have traced the 100-degree angle, you would have saw that it would have been the same as that 100-degree angle. Angle 8 is therefore 80 degrees because vertical angles are congruent. And angle 5, same thing, 100 degrees. So, are there any types of angles that are congruent? Okay, meaning alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior, corresponding. So let's look and go through each one. Let's start with alternate interior angles. Let's start with alternate interior angles. Can I erase just that? Perfect. Okay, so alternate interior angles, let's check those. This angle and what's an alternate interior angle with it? This one right here. Those are congruent. So we know alternate interior angles are congruent. All right, let's check alternate exterior angles. Okay, so I'll choose this one that's 100. What's an alternate exterior angle with that one? This one out here, which is also 100. So alternate exterior angles are congruent. All right, let's check same side interior. Are same side interior angles congruent? So if I choose this 80, what's a same side interior angle? This one that's 100. They are not congruent. But what do we notice about same side interior angles? They're not congruent, but what do they add to? They add to 180, so they're supplementary. So I'm going to put that in a different group right here. Same side interior angles are supplementary. These were congruent. These were congruent. All right, the only one I haven't talked about yet is corresponding. So upper left-hand corner, and in this group of 4, upper left-hand corner. They're both 100. And if I would have chosen upper right and upper right, they're both 80. Or lower right and lower right, they're 100. So corresponding angles are congruent. So there's my summary. I can copy and paste to bring it down, or I can just say this is my summary. We have alternate interior angles are congruent, alternate exterior angles are congruent, corresponding angles are congruent, and same side interior, it says interior angles are supplementary. Now, notice there's 3 sets that are congruent and only 1 that's supplementary, so please don't confuse them. I like to think of it as same side supplementary, right? Same side interior angles are supplementary. Okay, that's it for these notes. How do you feel about naming the angles formed by a pair of